Welcome everybody to this edition of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with the other hosts, Damon Armstrong, Jaquari Armstrong. We have special guests tonight, Christopher Dickens. Welcome. And also Keith Barnes will be joining us momentarily.
Welcome back, brother.
Hey, well, thank you.
Yeah, welcome back.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back.
You know, the balls cracked that whip the other day, so we had to let you go.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, me and my wife, we had to go do the date night thing, but
No doubt.
we back.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Family first. I think that Keith is here.
Oh, yes? Keith B!
Hey,
Keith
what's
Barnes.
going on, brother?
Welcome, Keith Barnes. How are you today, sir?
Doing all right. How you gentlemen?
All right.
How you doing, brother?
All right.
Hey, I got to say something about Keith Barnes. That is my dude right there. You hear me? That is my dude right there. I'm gonna tell you the reason why he's my dude.
Hold on. I'm gonna give you the opportunity.
Go ahead, my dude.
We gotta do some house cleaning first.
Okay,
Because
go ahead.
this is the Strong Perspective Podcast. This is a podcast which concentrates on conversation with everyday people. Everyday people consist of everybody. So it's not a particular group, a particular clique. This is everyone that you come across. You have conversations with. You do the type of people that what we do is we promote conversation. It's what we do. So we give each other the opportunity to express ourselves, but also to give that listening ear. I think that's the best way to put it. Be an active listener. So this is what we're going to be doing tonight. Tonight's subject is violence in our community, part 2, because really and truly, we could do the rest of the month on this, because the month of August on this, because it is a very, very, very important subject, because everyone's asking, hey, what can we do? What's the solution? Oh no, this is the problem. This is why we're doing this. This is why we promote this kind of conversation, just to get an idea of the people on the screen. And folks, if you're watching us, I'm going to continue to repeat this throughout the podcast. If you're watching and you're tuning in, go to the comments and shoot a question towards us. You know, we're more than welcome to answer them to address them. Another part of the house cleaning is this. Please go to our YouTube channel, Strong Perspective Podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. Especially subscribe to it. Especially subscribe, because what we want to do, we want to build it to the point where we get to reach other folks. You know, because sometimes just by listening to a conversation and not participating in it can help you just as much as participation. Okay? So we have 3 segments we usually do during our episodes. I have the first, Jaquari has the second, and Damon has the last. He takes us on home. So today, what I want to do is just touch lightly on it. My interpretation of affirmative action. Okay? Because everybody has that take on it. And really and truly, I want to give you my take. It really is not a definition of what I think it is. I think it has a lot to do with why someone would think, other than a political reason. You know, President Johnson, he did it for political reasons, but why would anyone want to bring in something as far as affirmative action? Recently, the Supreme Court repelled it in the college ranks, and I think they've been slowly pushing it back, giving the state the power to push it back maybe 15 years ago, or I'm not mistaken, 10, 15 years ago.
You're right. It's 15 years.
So they gave it to the power to the states to make the decision on it.
Yeah, because it was North Carolina, Chapel Hill, I
Yeah.
do believe.
So here's what I have something, and it's a rhetorical question. Why do you think someone needs to be checked when it comes to allowing a certain community in it? And like I said, it's rhetorical. And the reason being is because that community was not allowed to be in it at all, excluded. So the thing about it is if you think that the small percentage of folks who benefited from it throughout the years, who benefited from affirmative action, stopped you from achieving your dreams in their field, you are delusional, because it's very small. In big business, in the college ranks, everywhere, very small. And that's, you talk about Chapel Hill, we talk about Harvard. Come on, man. I'm speaking more of common sense more than anything. Yeah, you can get somebody to hit us with the statistical things. Oh yeah, and this and that, and I didn't do this, and what's going on here? No. Do you not understand how small a percentage it was? And then you fool yourself into thinking. That that person stopped you from being admitted because you are the light color, or maybe not that minority that was being admitted, whether it's black, whether it's female, whatever. Maybe you just wasn't good enough to be put in your majority. Now, this is not challenging anybody. This is not doing anything but talking common sense.
Well, can I speak to a certain factor to what you're saying? I know within my family.
I'm gonna let you
Okay,
finish.
go ahead.
This is my time to shine. I'm a moderator, my guy.
My bad.
Don't step on my toe. No, I'm just.
You got big feet. I'm not
just
gonna step
fucking
on.
with you. But in closing, what I'm saying to you is this: I am so tired of people, and I was one of those people. But when you mature into an adult and you start to see life the way you're supposed to see it, sometimes you just don't get a chance. I hate it for everyone who when you was admitted to a certain place or wanted a certain job and your heart was broken because you didn't get that job. I hate it for you. Right? Now, but the thing about it is, maybe you just weren't good enough. You ever, if that ever crossed your mind, instead of throwing hatred towards other things, has it ever crossed your mind that you weren't good enough? Because it crossed my mind. And I had to address it as far as being a professional athlete. Small in comparison to all that, but I had to address it. Maybe I was not good enough. Then you got to move on.
Right. Have plan B.
So
plan A fails. I got you.
So in closing, I wanted to give that opinion about it. You could go back and forth and how wrong it was and how this and that and all of that. But understand that our community, I don't believe in handouts, but I received handouts. You understand? But I never lived off handouts because I wanted to do better. But in closing, I just think it's funny where we grab onto something to hate. When we don't achieve the thing that we look most forward to. And that's just a broad statement more than anything. This is Big Dog's perspective. Any
Can I?
comments from anybody? Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, I got one. So, speaking on two aspects of what you were talking about. When I was growing up in Detroit, my family was very steeped in the HBCU community. I have an uncle, Dr. Levi Watkins, that was president of Alabama State University. My mother told me and my sister, you can do whatever you want to, but if you go to college, your undergrad degree will be at a HBCU. So my sister graduated from Clark Atlanta University, and I graduated from the esteemed St. Augustine's College here in Raleigh. And my mother graduated from Knoxville College. And my grandmother graduated from Alcorn State when it was a 2-year college. But that was the rule on my mother's side of the family, that you had to go to an HBCU, then you can go to a majority college after that. But your undergrad degree, if you go back and look through history in our family, my family, I'm not speaking for anybody else, everybody has a degree from an HBCU. So, being that people go to Harvard and all this and this, and UNC, whatever, that's fine. I wasn't a Rhodes Scholar. Strong C student off gate, straight out of Mumford High School. Strong C student. But I obtained my college degree because there was a college out there that believed in me and my future. And that was St. Augustine's College, now St. Augustine's University. So, it's what you make of it. That's one. The second part you spoke on is about what you want in life. Going back to my college days, I had a roommate. I'm not gonna mention his name because he might be watching it or whatever. Somebody might know him. Both his parents died from a heroin overdose. This man not only completed his undergrad, but completed his grad and worked with me for several years in the courthouse. So it's about what you want your survival to be. Okay? If you don't think past your future, just because to bring it back one more step, when I became an instructor, people told me, you'll never get it. I said, if you got it, I can get it. Then when I became a hazmat and explosive instructor, I had a white guy, and Keith, you know who I'm talking about, tell me, Dickens, it would be too hard for you. I looked at him and I said, really? Apparently you don't know the tenacity of a person from Detroit, Michigan. And not only did I go to the school, I graduated second highest in my whole class with a 95 on the state exam. And I'm an instructor now. And that person don't even work with the sheriff's office no more. So it's about your motivation in life. People can tell you anything, but are you going to accept what they tell you and let that be the motivation in your life? Me, nah, I don't let nothing. If you can do it, I can do it. Now it might take me a little bit longer, but I'm gonna get it at the end.
Hey Chris, I know you feel bad that you had to cut out early, so you're trying to cram every bit of last week into this, man. But we got you.
My bad.
You're gonna get your opportunity, bro. When I say we got you, keep it. Tell you we got you for real. Yeah,
but that's my dude though, right there.
Yeah. So anybody else have any comments on what I was my first part of it? Before we move on.
What I was going to say about it was that it always amazed me how, look, the whole thing is necessary because it was an uneven playing field. That's what it did. If it was an even playing field to start with, it wouldn't have been necessary.
Right.
And the ones doing the most complaining now were the ones that had the advantage of the uneven playing field. I was at a class reunion a few years back, and a group of my classmates uh, were complaining about they have businesses and they had put in bids for jobs, and they were saying that they didn't get jobs because it had to be offered to a minority group, a minority company, owned company, and those companies ended up getting this, like the last spots, and they were saying it wasn't fair. So I was just standing there looking, and they said, things have changed and blah blah blah, all that stuff. And when they looked at me standing there listening, and they said, "You know what we're talking about?" I said, "I know exactly what you're talking about." He said, "So do you understand what we're saying?" I said, "I know exactly what you're saying." I said, "This is new to you." I said, "For the minority business owners, that's always been the case. So this is a new thing for you, not for them."
You know what? I think what people need to, here's the thing that people are not talking about. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, man. When you talk about these institutions being higher, institutions or what, mid-level or whatever, when you think about all institutions, they're in the business of what? Making money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of those students, man, where you feel like, hey, man, my SAT scores was high and I come from this family and that family, whatever, and you walk on that damn cover, that campus, be it Harvard, Yale, or Princeton, and you see Hispanics and blacks and stuff and people like that walking around. First thing you talking about, what you hear on affirmative action. That's a misnomer. They're not there for affirmative action. They're there because of the business of the school. And the business of the school is to get that federal money.
Fact.
Great fucking point, bro.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's to get that federal money. They're not getting the scholarships that these people with a higher grades get. They're not getting the scholarships. But what is those institutions' expectations of those people that they are letting in based on the money alone to wash out? Most of them wash out first semester. Some of them might last 1 or 2 years. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They taking out loans. They mortgaging their houses. They're doing all that stuff. And the school already knows that, yes, we're going to make sure that the so-called cream of the crop is going to make it there because it's going to make it last because we want to make sure our reputation stays there. So they get, hell, they have scholarships for braiding hair, for God's sake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Really?
I mean, any type of scholarship you could think of, they got them there to keep people there who they think, you know what I'm saying, deserves to be there. But what is the bottom line? The bottom line is that getting that money.
Yeah.
It's getting that money. And they expect people to wash out. It's people that got accepted in Harvard and Yale in debt, went there 10 years ago and still in debt and didn't graduate from there.
Fact.
That's real.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So when all these higher ups and all these political whatever cats be trying to divide us, I don't want you to pay attention to that. But guess who's paying attention to it? The people who's paying attention to it is those white students who say, why is they here? They're here because that's the bottom line. That's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
You'll get your turn. And
I'm sorry.
I know.
I saw something that Damon said, and I wanted to expound on it. But there's always one of us that weathers the storm, like Barack Obama and his wife, graduated from Harvard, and became president of the United States. They don't expect that. They expect us to wash out of colleges like that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? That's the silver lining. That's, hey, you know what? They attended our school and look what they became. We aided them in a certain way, whatever. But what about the people, man, who they accepted, who they was there to build their money?
That's true, too.
You know what I'm saying? Build their money. Pell Grant, you know what Pell Grant is? Affirmative action, man. That's what Pell Grant is. But at these higher institutes, they be like, no, that's federal money. With that, no, that's affirmative action. It's a welfare program. Now, do a survey and ask Harvard or Yale how many Pell Grant students did they accept. They get money because they know those kids, because they have such a higher standard in terms of education. They know these kids are going to wash out, and they accept them anyway.
They wash out because it's a financial matter more than anything.
Yep. And they wash out.
It has
The first year.
Education.
The first year they watch out. They $70,000 in debt.
But that's why we got to support our HBCUs. We have Ivy
That's
League
real.
HBCUs.
That's real. That's real.
We have
that was my point.
HBCUs.
Hold on. We give everybody a chance here. Ja'Cory,
I'm sorry. Ja'Cory, I'm sorry.
No, just shortly, man. America, when you really cut away the fat of the situation, man, this country was basically founded on the concept of fairness, fair play, man. Give me your tired, your weak, your humble masses.
That's the rhetoric.
It's the rhetoric, yeah.
It's some bullshit.
But behind the scenes, this country was also built on the system of oppression. When the tables turn just a little bit, and the people, like the majority that's on the level with us, they're not really affected by it. But when the people in the majority with money become affected with, by the situation, all of a sudden it becomes bullshit.
Right.
Take the Statue of Liberty down. You can't freaking have a piece of property as iconic as goddamn Ellis Island, steeped in tradition and steeped in everybody come on and hop in this pool, and then you guard California borders or whatever, like plague victims were walking through. Double standards, man. Double standards have always fed this country, man.
Always,
So that's just what it is.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that myself.
They cut out affirmative action, and then when those kids who feel privileged go back on that campus, guess who's still gonna be there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Those people that they playing, who they getting money from.
Of course. I mean, that's how, it's always legacy stuff going on. But see, that's the thing about it with HBCUs, and you guys can speak on it, that went, they are heavily invested in legacy too. You know what I mean?
So hold on, Keith, to speak to that, they are and they're not.
I mean, I'm talking about you. You spoke on your mom.
Yeah, she went to Knoxville College.
Will go. You and your sister will go. That's what I mean. Invested in it. Now, when it comes to money, it's a different thing.
But that's putting money in the black community, and then also in steeping us, my sister and I, back into the black community to understand what my grandmother, grandfather, ancestors fought for us to go to these colleges, to receive the same level, quote unquote, of the majority college.
I get you.
Now, and I will defend St. Augustine's College to the day I die, because it prepared me for this world that I live in. And I took my wife to a homecoming. When we first got married, I took her to the homecoming, and she was like, wow. It's like, everybody. I went to a small black college. Even though I wanted to go to Morehouse, I went to St. Aug. But I'm proud that I went to St. Aug, and I rep it all the time. But the lessons that I learned outside the classroom prepared me to be the man that I am today.
Yeah, yeah, that's real. That's real.
You're not gonna get that from a majority college, or as my aunt used to say, the other Americans college. You're not gonna get that.
Yeah,
And yes, it was a smaller class size, and yes, yeah, that's what my aunt Lillian.
I love that shit.
Yeah,
Go
she
ahead,
called
man.
them the other Americans, but I appreciate it, and I had already ingrained in my head when I graduated from Mumford High School that I was going to an HBCU because that's all I knew. The reason being is that whenever me, my mother, my sister, my father, when he was still alive, went on a vacation, we stopped by the HBCU so I can get a feel for what I wanted.
Yeah,
And when my grandson gets old enough, I'm going to do the same for him. Now, if he wants to go to a majority college, that's on him. But he can never say, Grandpa never exposed me to this
gotcha.
because I will give him that chance. But it's going to be the ultimate choice is going to be up to him. But me, my mom, my sister, my grandmother, my grandfather, we all went to HBCUs, and I will always support an HBCU. Okay,
Well,
we're just as good. The education value is just as good as you went to Harvard, Yale, whatever. We have Morehouse, St. Aug, uh, Howard. I mean, our educational value is just as good, if not better, than those colleges. The only reason that we say those colleges are better because they've been in existence maybe a tad bit longer than ours.
It's name recognition too.
That part
Yeah.
too.
Marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is what we're going to do because we kind of at what we're going to do is we're going to get into the crux of our topic today. And what I'm going to do is now this guys, what I'll need y'all to do. Yeah, see the timer up there. 2 minutes is a long time,
Hmm.
right? So I want to get through as many of these questions that we discussed as we can, okay? Because I think there's some good questions.
yeah, because I put a lot of
So
time in these questions.
Yeah.
you
Me
study,
too.
you
I'm
study.
ready.
So
I'm
what I'm going
ready.
to do, I'm going to ask the first question, and I'm going to let it marinate, and we're going to go into Jaquari's segment,
Go
okay?
ahead. Go ahead.
The question is, when it comes to violence in our community, is poverty an excuse? When it comes to violence in our community, is poverty an excuse? Jaquari,
Mm-hmm.
ready for your segment, sir? And Damon, we're going to go to you as soon as Jaquari is done.
All right, this is beginning of my segment. It's called Uncle Spoke's Sake. Uh, man, I had a hell of a week this week, man. It was filled with ups and downs, man, and disappointments and triumphs. And during the time of the disappointments, man, you know, I found myself being at really low points, man. You know, just like why the hell am I burning all my energy and putting everything that I have, you know, for at least 8 hours a day into, you know, doing what I'm doing. You know, I work with young people, as I said, you know, often on this podcast. You know, but the bad times make the good times, you know, tastier, and vice versa. You know what I mean? I've said it. I've also said on this podcast 1,000 times, man. You know, you're not always supposed to be happy. Things aren't supposed to always go well. If that was the case, then you know it'd be like, you know, we never left our parents' house. You know, trying to teach somebody the difference between right and wrong at a higher age, you know, is really not ideal. It's not ideal, man, because you know, just because they're young, they're set in their ways. They've already developed who they were by the age of 5. You know, trying to give a person a reason, to do the right thing, to do something outside of what they would normally do for absolutely no reason. If it's good, it's a job, man. It's a job. So I've had a hell of a week. Uh, it doesn't do anything to diminish my hope for the future. It definitely doesn't, because I've grown up, with a lot of guys who I work with. Personalities match, man. And the guys who were in trouble when I was young, hell, they're doing okay now. They had to walk that road. And at some points, especially you guys, you know, on the panel who do work in law enforcement, it's a road, man. You
Sure is. It sure is.
unfortunately you get set on the path, and it might be fucked up, but you do have opportunities to to detour. You just got to be savvy enough to recognize those opportunities, man. And it's a bitch. It's a bitch, man. I don't have anything snappy to say or funny to say, unfortunately. But platforms like this, man, and I wish there was a lot more. That's number one, and then number two, I wish we could find a way to collaborate, man. Because these kind of conversations are needed, man. Not only but people need to hear these conversations. Not only people like us, but people who aspire to be like us. You know, You'd be surprised at how many people and how many young people in that situation just want to be regular, man. They just don't want to, be apprehensive when they see a police car, or when it's time to pay bills. They want to be comfortable enough to take care of business, and not have a chokehold on their lives, you know, and trying to convince them that they can achieve that, man. It's a bitch sometimes. It's a bitch sometimes, man. I just felt the need to vent a little bit today, fellas. So that's what I was
Hey,
supposed to say.
vent, because it's all relevant. It's all relevant to the conversation. I mean, because we all old heads, all of us. We were born in the 70s, 60s. We lived our lives. We know what waits ahead of us and how to navigate through this thing we call life. These kids don't.
Damon, you need me to read the question?
Yeah, I remember the question. I had to be able to differentiate between generalities and personal when Jacoy was talking. Um, I hear what you're saying, man. If you're going through something, give me a call, brother. As far as the question is concerned, man.
Look at you over there getting all sensitive and shit.
Hey,
Calm.
he called me too. I don't give a shit.
As far as
Damn.
as far as the question is concerned, man, listen. When you look at our family as a whole, man, were we in poverty? No, man.
Yeah.
There was there were some people who were struggling, but back then the family was united as a whole. You had aunts
Okay, I got you.
raising this person, and you had grandparents raising that person, or whatever. Everybody ate, and everybody had a place to lay their head. And if you really, really think about it, because this was during the boom. This when they migrated to the north, and this was the boom. Black people were buying houses. Yeah, they had redlining and all that stuff, but people owned houses and stuff like that, and they were able to pass it down until they threw some shit in the game, or whatever. As far as poverty is concerned, yeah, when you look to the next person and you say, "Man, I don't have that. Or I don't dress that way," you feel like you living in a situation where you in poverty, but you really not. So when you listen to things that's outside of that nucleus family, you think that you are not living the American dream. You know what I'm saying? But you look at the immigrants that come to this country. The things that they are doing now, they say in a Chinese home, the amount of income is higher than this person. That's because they got about 6 or 7 people in there contributing and shit. You know what I'm saying? They got more people contributing and working together. That's what we did in the black community. But when we started looking outside of ourselves, and they started closing up those mom and pop stores and all that stuff, and those cats who was loaning people money to make sure ends meet or whatever, then we started struggling because we came upon this whole this governmental thing where they set rules for us. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. During the '60s, when we were allowed to get that federal money, whatever, rules came with that. You know what I'm saying? That's when the man couldn't be in the house, and so on and so forth. Y'all all know the history of that.
Yeah, Damon.
Are we struggling?
Is poverty an excuse for violence?
That's I don't think it work hand in hand, man.
Okay.
I don't think it work hand in hand because if you poor, you ain't got no money. You go out there and you hustle, whatever you do. I'm saying selling drugs, whatever. You need that clientele to be there for you to continue to get that money to keep sustaining your family. You know what I'm saying? What I think about in terms of the violence, I think that goes back to a brother feeling like he can't take care of his family. You know what I'm saying? Then the manhood, then machismo steps into place. Well, I'm man enough to take care of my family. And then you look at all the propaganda around you, and they say, well, you can't take care of your family because you're not a man. You don't even take care of your kids. And when you ask yourself this question, man, how many of us know brothers that take care of their kids? You feel what I'm saying? You might know a handful full of brothers who don't, but the majority of us do. To get back on topic, I don't think poverty is the reason why we're killing each other. I think ego is the reason why.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look. I know you had a hell of an answer, but you was taking this in different directions. You hit us with the Rizzy Dazzle, but you came back and hit it on point, bro. Great damn answer. Are you done?
Oh yeah, I'm done, bro. Yeah.
Okay. Keith.
Yes, sir. Yeah. The short answer, no. Poverty is not an excuse for violence. And what I believe is ego, jealousy is the biggest thing. It's crazy. It's like in I'll say poverty. I ain't gonna say race. I'll just say poverty. But you know what I'm talking about. In certain areas where there's poverty, it's a standard. It's a standard. You hear it from people that was in that gotten better, that was in poverty and gotten better, and that's the flag they fly for their success. I struggled and I did this and I did that. And the thing is to get away. So yeah, you doing better. So the community, they're saying, well, okay, when you start doing better, you trying to leave us. You trying to do better so you can leave us, not you trying to do better so you can help raise us up. They see you as trying to leave us. So when you get to being successful, whether you're going to college or whatever you're doing, some of them take it personal. So they'll do something to try to sabotage your situation, which can lead to violence, or they'll just be direct with it and be violent towards you, create some reason to be violent. But the thing is, we keep it right there inside our own community. That's frustrating. So no one's really trying to lift us up. And then when all the dirt's done and you start talking to people, then we revolve right back around. Well, it's hard where we come from. We all in poverty. We struggling. We hungry. We all of this.
Well, that's the go-to answer other than the real answer.
Exactly. because our egos and stuff is not going to let us say what it really is. Hey, I'm jealous. He was trying to leave us. Every time
But
someone leaves us, they blow up. They don't holler at us no more. We don't hear from them. They don't write no more and stuff
I,
like that. So
I mean,
that's
I get that now.
yeah.
I get that now.
So I mean, that's what I said. And I've talked to kids.
You next, Chris. So be ready.
Yeah, I've
All right.
talked to some kids about that uh, in the communities, in those communities, and that's what they'll say. And I have to talk to them about opportunities. This you don't want to ask for the solution, but the thing that the communities don't have, like put it, gang members, hustlers are not broke people. They're not broke people. They have money management problems. If they knew how to manage what they got, it could help them tremendously and those around them because they would put themselves and the people around them in the situation where they wouldn't have to be violent. Everybody would have a little something. Everybody would be okay. The way I wouldn't have to be trying to dip into your stuff and have conflict. So that's my short answer on that.
Okay. Okay. Chris.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna piggyback on what Keith said the about the gangbanger, drug dealer, whatever, and talking to Damien, your brother, and you know where we came from. Drug dealers were out on the forefront. They didn't care about being filmed in the media, sharp, clean cut, the whole 9 yards. It's cool. But what I see is that everybody wants to put the blame off on somebody else. They want to put the blame off on somebody else.
Good point.
To, to bring it back to Keith, okay, to bring it back to Keith, me and him worked a case together when he was under my field training officer. I was his training officer. He was my rookie, even though he wasn't a rookie. But anyway, um, yeah, Keith, you remember the house that got shot up on a Sunday, and then the kid went in, and the gun was found in his house. You remember that one in the South Side Mobile Home Park?
Yes.
Okay, so let's bring it back to that. Me and Keith worked that case. Keith retired. I continue on with it. The young man that took the blunt of the charges really didn't take all the. He was not the main suspect, but he took all of them. I said, okay, not a problem. Tried to talk to him. Me, the DA. Hey, look, we can get you out of this situation. Blase, blase. No, he down with his set. Okay, cool, not a problem. I feel by working property, person, sex offender as an investigator, we are looking at social media and outside influences bringing this into our community, and kids feel they have no way out. They don't. But they do, but they don't. Because they'll listen to them who makes millions of dollars. But people that make, like me and Keith, they make thousands of dollars. They don't want to listen to us. But we have the correct answer. I think that social media, the rap industry, now, not this rap industry of past, the rap industry of now, plays a big part in the violence that we're seeing.
They're glorifying it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Jaquar.
is muted.
You're muted, Jaquar.
Yeah, he is. Hit the mute button.
My
There you
bad, my
go.
bad.
Yeah,
Poverty is only an issue if you know you're poor. I mean, how many people do you guys know that might have at some point or another told you that when they were growing up they didn't even know they were poor. Hell, as a kid, I didn't even know until motherfuckers told me. I believe it's a shame and the feeling of being stunted. Those are the seeds of violence. But no, poverty is not an excuse for violence. Poor isn't bad. It's something we've all been at some point. And growing up and experiencing the things that poor people experience, man, quite frankly, there can be honor in it, man. There could be dignity in it because it tests you, man. Poverty tests you. You can either bite the next man's throat out, to get the crumbs that fall from above, or you can figure out a way, man, to get your own meal. There's no shame in being poor. There is shame in how you
right.
react to it.
Good point.
Good. I mean, I agree with that.
Okay. This next question I'm going to answer so you guys understand the, I guess, the energy of where I'm coming from when I answer. And how much does the stereotypical definition of our community play into your life? So what I mean is, and we're not talking about men and women relationships, we're talking about men relationship with each other in our community. You can't show that you're a punk. You can't show that you're weak somehow. You can't show you're a simp. I'm giving you all that negative connotation. You can't show that you're dumb, you're stupid. You can't show every single stereotype that's been projected on us. In my opinion, I think that we have adapted. Okay? So, going back to the question, how much has it affected you? How much has it affected you? These definitions of us. Now, I understand if you have strong role models in your life, you don't think of yourself as in a certain vein. You don't think of yourself in a certain vein, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think of yourself in a certain vein, and you're putting yourself in a position where, and I'm talking about when you have a strong mother and father, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, aunt, where they instilled something in you. But I'm just speaking, I want you to speak from what you see from other people in our communities feeding into the stereotype of us, right? How much does it impact you? And my answer to that is, it saddens me for the simple fact that I didn't start off with all the confidence in the world. I had two parents who were very secure in who they were as people, as individuals, and were radical thinkers and were very intelligent people. So it influenced me and my brothers to think on another level than the community level, right? But it's sad when, because of somebody, the way they dress or where they live, you seem to want to look down on them, or you see no hope. You gotta think about it. Right now, the individuals on the screen and the people who are going to watch this later on. If we were to listen to social media, we would have thought that our community was lost 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And if we look at it now from social media, there's no, it's like a zombie apocalypse right now. Nothing but flesh eating individuals, mentality wise. And we're lost. But I tell people all the time, what we see on the screens is a small percentage of who we are. Because the majority of us go to work every day.
Amen.
The majority of us go to work every day. The majority of us make sound decisions. Because if we were what we portrayed ourselves to be, our community would be in total anarchy. But you know where I
What,
think
hold on, Sean. Would it be in total anarchy?
it would?
But
It would.
because
Hold on. Let me finish because I'm getting ready to bring it home for you, so you
okay,
understand what I'm saying. When I say total anarchy, meaning that people would give up hope. Hold on,
okay,
would give up hope, and I refuse to think that we have given up hope in our children and our ability to adapt and to make sure that our lives is going where we're going. All right, you guys understand the energy of where how I answered that?
oh,
I'm not asking you to chime in. We're gonna go with you, Chris, when I'm done.
okay,
I'm not asking you to chime in with my answer. What I'm saying to you, you understand my thinking.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So it's on you. 2 minutes, Chris. Let's go.
All right, 2 minutes. I got. I'm gonna say that we as African Americans, we've experienced so much degradation that we know how to survive. We know how to survive. If we get out of the aspect of listening to people to dictate how we survive, we will be on top. And the reason I say that is when my dad died, my mom died, I still survived without them. I don't need them to survive. I don't need anybody to survive because I've developed skills over the 48 years of my life of how to survive. People of privilege don't know how to survive, but people of degradation and have been put down and been casted below, we know how to survive. So when pandemics, recession, all this come about, we're like, okay, no big deal. I just need to tweak this, tweak that. Hey, I'm good. But when you live on this higher level of thinking, like you're privileged and shit goes wrong for you don't know how to survive. You don't. But African Americans, we know how to survive from day one when the first black foot hit sands in the United States. We were already taught that lesson. And Keith Barnes, he knows I know how to survive. Because I grew up in Detroit. My dad, I found him. My dad, I found him dead at 16. My mom, I just buried her back in April. If I didn't know how to survive, I wouldn't be here right now. Survival is the key, and we have it, but we don't expound upon it. All right, I'm done.
Good point. Good point. Keith.
Yeah. If I understand the question correctly, that whole thing molded me, kind of how I am. Uh, I call myself sometimes like a chameleon because depending on who I'm dealing with, I give them a different type of energy. It's not fake. It's just to accomplish my goal. Uh, it's because of the stereotypes. I had touched on it, like me being this serious raw me puts people on edge. They take me wrong for some reason, so I have to come across another, a gentler way. Uh, Sometimes I have to adjust to the simp road to an extent to accomplish the goal. Then I get to be my true alpha. And in the midst of it, it makes me angry that I have to do that. It bothers me that I have to do that. So I don't know. It's that's a really good question, and it's so many ways, that directions I want to go with,
Exactly.
Gotcha. I got you.
because I s- I had people growing up. My grandfather, I would say, that's who raised me, and I watched him. He had a way of dealing with people, and the way he would deal with people, and then come back and deal with us, was two totally different personalities, and everything he did, it was stereotypical. It was stereotypical for what's labeled with our people in our community, and it's funny because now I'm like, as much as I try not to be, I'm like him a lot in that way. But it's all used to navigate. If what I'm saying is making sense to you, you
Okay.
use it to navigate to accomplish your goals.
Because you have to stay in your comfort zone as you're navigating through.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, when I'm by myself, I have to deprogram myself, because some of the things that I had to do, the behavior things I had to do, or the way I had to behave, made me feel like a punk, or like I settled,
Gotcha.
and it makes me angry. So I have to sit down and talk to myself and rewind the day. Like, okay, oh, it's cool. That's did what we had to do. We accomplished this, but I need to get myself out of this situation. And I think all of us have had to do that at some point in time.
Oh yeah,
But
I
just
do it every
for,
day.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
I do
me,
it.
yeah,
But,
for me,
but, that,
it's bothers me.
but see, what that is, man, is the fact that you have decorum when you're dealing with the public, period. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Sometimes you got to give a little bit.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I appreciate your honesty, man. You know what I'm
You know,
saying?
it's what it is. I get that. Jaquari and then Damien, you go last.
All right, it plays heavily, man. I've always had to fight the image of being the big dumb field hand from both sides. It's like immensely disappointing, man, to be shorted by your own.
Yeah,
Uh, I expect adversity from the others, but it burns
mm,
extra hot when it comes from my own, man. I never wanted to
exactly.
fit it. I never wanted to fit anyone's mold. I think maybe we need to include black on black bullshit into this conversation also.
That's
Growing
fact.
up, I never had a thought that I would have to work harder to convince mine that I was not only viable but important to whatever venture I was involved in.
Okay, okay.
I
Damien,
agree with I agree with Jakari.
yeah. A great point. Damien, it's on you, and then you stay because I'm gonna ask you the next question.
Well,
But
here's the thing for me, man. Keep it short and sweet. When dealing with that type of that type of thing, growing up in your formative years, man, everything seemed awkward. And people have a tendency, especially like Jacory said, your own. They have a tendency to focus on that. Okay, you're tall and you're goofy and you all this. You know what I'm saying? Was that born out of jealousy? I had to recognize that fact. You know what I'm saying? All I knew, me personally, I just needed to figure out how to get through my own awkwardness. You know what I'm saying? And then put my best foot forward. You know, I realized at an early age, my genetics, man, doesn't ostracize me. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make me that awkward person over there who's not able to function in life. The world will let you know that. But is that the case? As you're going through your own maturation process? No, it's not, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're gonna feel isolated and you're gonna feel all these different things. But, you know, am I going to be a failure by virtue of my genetics? You know what I'm saying? Imagine that.
That's racism upon itself.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine that. You know what I'm saying? So what you're basically telling me as a human being, me by my own genetics and nature alone, I don't belong and shit. You know what I'm saying? That never made sense to me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So as I focused on myself, I started elevating. And then those same people who were, you know what I'm saying, making negative comments about me, whatever, like, well, hey man, you know, what do you do? How you get through this? You know what I'm saying? Then the role was reversed because I was just being myself. You know what I'm saying? I learned that at an early age. So the navigation, I was able to play the game then. It's just like, oh, they don't think I'm on that level. Okay, that's cool. I can navigate now. I can forge unions. I can smooth. I can get all the things that I need for me to be successful. Me being myself. Am I making sense?
All day.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
all the obstacles were out of your way because they underestimated you.
Right. So armed with that knowledge, man, I never cared about what this person thought or that person thought. You know what I'm saying? I feel like either you're gonna get on board or you ain't. You know what I'm saying? But either way, you're not gonna stop my progress.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was for me. I mean, literally. And it's something that I learned at an early age, man, that not an early age, but it's something that I learned later in years, man, is that when I sat back and I did an assessment of my life and all the things that I thought that was important, I accomplished, man. I've literally accomplished the shit.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And it was easy because I was in control over that because, you know thyself. You know? So I was able to navigate and make sure that all the things that I needed for me and my family to be successful is for them to know themselves.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? To know themselves. So who's going to infiltrate that? The only way you're going to disrupt that is if you being a bad actor. If you are literally holding, you being racist or you being whatever. And that's something that you can recognize, man. What's the best way to deal with a racist, man? With them being honest.
No doubt.
You feel what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Okay.
that was my experience.
I find myself, man, and just real quick, Keith. My whole life, I've always found myself in situations, man, where people counted me out, or or didn't even consider me. And at the end of the venture, man, like, if I wasn't leading, then I was at the top, and it surprised the shit out of everybody, man. Sit down and watch. Huh?
Go ahead, finish.
No, I mean just something as simply as just sitting down and watching Jeopardy. I don't lose at Jeopardy. I don't lose at Jeopardy, and people are fucking amazed. I'm like, wow, you had the same opportunities, man, to pick up this knowledge, but you fucked it off. You fucked
Look,
it up.
let me just say this real quick. If you're born a star, you're going to be a star.
And I
Whether or not people recognize it at all.
and,
You
and,
understand
and
what I'm saying to you?
oh, I get it. I get what you're saying, my bro. And like relating it back to my line of work, I trained Keith, even though he was my senior. I trained him, and he requested me with our former sheriff, and I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'm gonna get you straight. But I do all this good work, and people recognize it, but I don't advance. My now one opinion is my wife says my mouth. Your mouth is too reckless. I'm from Detroit. I'm not gonna let you talk to me, but only so way. Two, I hear I don't work hard enough. Well, that's a lie because I'm doing shit that y'all not doing. And my man Keith B over here can contest to that. But now I've accepted it to say, hey, stay in my lane, do my job, because a lady at work said, you don't know what God is protecting you from going to the next level. And the sad thing about that is, I had that same conversation with my grandmother, who's passed. When I got out of the academy, she was like, God don't want you on patrol right now. And I had to listen to that. So now I'm listening to the spirituality of me advancing and saying, wow, okay, I got to back off. I got to back off. I got to do what I got to do. Okay, no big deal. But me as a go getter from day one, August 20th, 1999, to now, I still got that same motivation. But now that I'm older, I got to back it off a little bit. All right, no big deal. Y'all don't want to parole me? No big deal. You don't need me before I need you. Keith?
Yeah.
You go ahead and you evolve, Chris. Keep evolving, man,
I'm
because
going to evolve, but I'm
it
going to
trickles
do it
in,
at
man.
my own pace.
It trickles in, brother. All
Yeah.
right, look, we got two more topics I want to get to because the main topic is, getting your perspective on the violence in our community. So the next question coming to you, Damon, and this is 2 minute joints, man. So try to stick with it the best way you know how, unless you're on fire. So the question is, talk about the male role model in your life and how it affected you from going to or staying in violence as a young man. Everybody understand what I'm saying?
The the end of the question broke out for me. The last part of it.
Me and my dad.
Hold on for a second, Damon. As far as that that model, if you had a male role model,
Right.
how did it affect you? How did he affect you from going to? When I say violence, I'm talking about everything that's encompassing violence that we all know.
Oh, okay, okay, gotcha. I'm with you now.
You
Gotcha.
see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That we all know in the community when you was a youngin, whether or not you was contributing to the violence. Okay,
Okay.
it's on you. It's on you, Luke.
Well, like I started to say, man, I had a conversation with my dad one time. I came home and I was telling him about a couple of my friends who was on their way to prison. And I said to him, I said, hey, man, we crazy, ain't we? He said, son, what did you say? I said, man, me and my boys, man, we crazy, ain't we? He said, they might be crazy, but you just stupid, man. You know, and I looked at him and I was offended and all that stuff. And he said, why would you associate yourself with somebody going to prison, man? And look at it like it's something to brag about or something to be proud of. Why would you do that when you know that that's not who you are? That's not. I'm your dad. I know who you are. That's not your sensibility, man. You know. And a couple of days later, I realized something. He planted the seed in my head, and the seed he planted in my head was I was doing things I had no business doing in the first place, and when I was doing them, I knew I was wrong. You feel what I'm saying? I knew I was wrong. But when he planted that seed, I started paying attention. My eyes was wide open, and I was like, man, I ain't got no business being here, man.
Fact.
I ain't got no business being here, man. So, y'all remember that's when I separated myself and I started running every day and all that stuff, preparing myself for college and all that. This was around my sophomore year. And those same cats, man, that I associated myself with some same cats who would ride past in their cars and be laughing at me because I'd be running and shit. Man, you ain't finna do nothing. You just like us. You ain't no different than us. You know, and I was like, wow, that's coming from my dog.
Right. The niggas that think they care about you.
Man, I said, that's coming from my dog. He was one of the loudest ones laughing at me and shit. You know?
That's jealousy, man. Keep going.
He was the main one laughing at me. But my point is, I would have never, ever thought about that until our dad made that statement. Oh, they might be crazy, but you stupid. Because you're not paying attention. Because what happens, man, what happens is those cats, that you're dealing with that's falling off, going to be the same cats going to try to talk you into doing some dumb shit.
Yeah.
All the time.
Out of love or false love or whatever. They're going to try to talk you into it. And then when you fall, they're going to say, that nigga had everything. Excuse my language. That brother had everything and he was dumb. I wish I had his father.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know how many cats told me that?
Mm.
After the fact?
Oh, yeah.
So, as far as, just to wrap it up, as far as when it comes to the violence in our community, you can avoid that, man.
Exactly.
You can navigate that all day. You know what I'm saying? Just by virtue of saying, you know what? I don't want to go down that path. So I'm going to do this. You're going to have your naysayers and you're going to have those cats that's clowning you. But 20 years down the line, you know what they're going to be saying to you? Dude, remember when you was running and we was laughing at you? I should have got out that car and ran with you, dog.
Fact.
I could have done something. That literally happened to me, man.
You know what, Damon? But that comes, like the Bible says, age comes wisdom. When we're young, we don't realize that stuff.
Well,
But
that's the whole point of the question, though.
It's that situation, man, that shocks you back into yourself and say, okay, I got to focus on this personal. I still got love for these cats, but I can't do that. No disrespect to them.
Because they can say no to you.
Yeah.
With the
Imagine if somebody else did that and I was one of them cats in the car laughing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how the ball bounced, man. And it's a matter of recognizing, man. Like Paul said, hey, man, opportunities pass you by every day. You just have to be blessed enough to recognize it, man.
No doubt. Keith, this is your 2 minutes, brother.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, be honest now. Yeah, I mean, you can be honest about it. So.
Yeah, no one believes it because I guess I hide it, Will. But I'm the person I am. I'm an angry person, but I'm that way. I grew up. I was the youngest one in the community, and so I was always fed what I couldn't do, or bullied, or every day my goal. I woke up and I was trying to see what kind of fight I was going to have to be into, whether it was physical or verbal or whatever, just to get through the day, because I was the guy to be picked on. And then I got this from family members too. So what I got was my stepdad, he was the one that would tell me all the time, "Hey man, you good enough." He feed me positive stuff. You're good enough, or you remind me of this, or you can do that. And I'll be saying, trying to build my own self esteem up. Hey, I can do this. And he said, "Yeah, you can do that. Why don't you do it? Try it. Go ahead." So he was the one that motivated me on steering me away from getting caught up in the negativity stuff. So I was the type of dude that if if you went out there and started a bonfire and you looked at me and was like, "See what I did? I'm going to burn a whole barn down." I was that guy. I was the action dude, and I'd end up, the one getting in trouble. I'd be the one to do the stupid stuff, and it was all trying to fit in. It was all trying to fit in, trying to be liked, trying to be accepted, and at that point, I didn't realize they weren't worth it. But we out in the country, and those are the only friends that I had or playmates I had, and I consider them friends. So I was, as far as the fighting part, or I had that mindset. I would do that because I was just mad, kind of angry anyway, because of the way I was treated. I was Now this is the way I describe it. I had to be friends with people that I didn't like because that's all I had access to.
It happens all the time, brother. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
But it's
Yep.
not. It's just a southern thing. It's a northern thing too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that grew up in Michigan, th-
Okay,
your
Chris.
story is the same.
Chris, you next. Are you done, Key?
yeah. That's pretty much that one.
It's on you. You remember the question, Chris?
Go ahead and hit me with it again.
Basically, what the question is, when it comes to in your youth steering away from violence,
Okay.
what male role model did you have? How did they influence you to either go towards it or go away from it?
Okay. I'm gonna answer that with great accuracy. My dad, my father, Lionel Dickens, was very instrumental in my life. Very instrumental in where I am now. He was a homicide detective with Detroit Police Department, and but he spent time with me as a child. If it was fishing, Boy Scouts, whatever, my dad was there. Um, he's the main reason I got in law enforcement. The main reason I became a detective, because I wanted to live to his standards. My dad was very, very influential. And I say influential, I'm talking about to the when I went to college, because my dad said, "Don't be a foot soldier, be a leader. Go to college." Because I was going to go from high school to the Detroit Police Academy, and he was like, "No, don't do that. Go to college, then get that degree under your belt, then you become a leader." Okay. Uh, Ted Clark as my dad's partner, who signed for my driver's license when I was a kid. Very influential in my life. Ted Clark was right there with me when I grew up from high school, middle school, elementary school. He's my dad's partner for a number of years. When my mother passed away, he was right there. I still could call on this man to this day. Ted, I got a problem. He'll walk me through my problem. So I had a strong male influence in my life from my dad and people that he worked with and that influenced me to become a detective, influenced me to become what I am today. So I have no issues with that. And I tell anybody that I keep my dad's business card in my wallet, laminated behind my badge, have since when I became a cop, because that's how much influence he had on my life. Um, Keith was one of my trainees before he retired. So what I've instilled in me from my dad, I instilled to Keith as a detective. So it's a big circle. Now, some people accept it, some people don't. Keith accepted it. He's retired. He's moved on. We still conversate with each other from time to time. But my dad, Ted Clark, and oh, what's the old boy's name with NC State? I can't think of his name, but a lieutenant over NC State. He was another influential person in my life that got me into this line of work of law enforcement. So I got three. So that's where I'm at.
All right, Jaquard.
Let me see. I've had tons of role models, man, throughout my life. You know, from you guys down to my peers. My younger days, I felt good, man, to be included in somebody else's, dumb shit. You know, I didn't have beef as a kid. I thought that supporting my friends and their bullshit kind of reinforced our bonds, but they only see me as a crash test dummy. You know, so I was wrong. You know, and that scenario, or scenarios like that didn't necessarily end when I got older. It made me very discerning of the people I let into my life. I became good at picking. I became very good at picking traits from people around me, even if I didn't. Even if I did see negative, man. Like Papa always told us, you get your information. You listen to everybody, and you cut away the fat and take away what you want. Uh, see, I became good at like I said, picking traits from other people, even if I see the negative. I said, but I I, I, I understood and I understand that these are men just like me, and I have no judgments of them. I don't want to say anybody specifically, because the people who have added positive to my life, man, even if it was a situation where things were kind of fucked up, it's countless men, countless men. Even if we weren't sitting, even if we didn't sit horses, you can learn somebody who you can learn from you can definitely learn from somebody who you bump heads with. You know, those are the people who are going to tell you the truth.
Right.
Conflict, man. There's not only there can not only there's several endings to to situations that have conflict, man. Violence isn't always the ultimate end to it. You know, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna go to this last one. I'm gonna ask you guys to, and I'm gonna answer it so you guys have time to think about your answers, and we're gonna give it because we want to close this on up. I'm gonna give you a minute and a half to give us the best answer to you that you have. Don't worry about whether or not it's perfect. I just want your honest opinion about it. Okay. So this question is: do we struggle with our collective identity in our community? Okay. So to speak on the energy on why I even came up with that question is collectively, I think we are a conservative community. Even though people want to label us as being on the liberal side, I hate them terms, conservative, liberal. I hate them because they don't apply to us. But if something applied to us, it would be conservative. because we want things to go well. We want things, we want to be rich. We want to be happy. We want all these things. And the conservative that we see is why I don't put us in the category is the conservatives politically is about money. And the liberal supposedly is about the people. But really it's a lie because it's about money also. Both political parties is about money. Period. That's my opinion. So struggling with the identity. I and my brothers were raised to be black men. I'm not questioning anybody else. We were raised to be black men, understanding who we are in this society, in this life. Going forward, seeing where we are. If you wanted something, if we wanted a particular thing, material, spiritual, emotional, we knew that if we believed in ourselves enough, we can achieve them or come close to achieving, right? So, to answer the question, do I think our community struggle collectively? Yes. And the reason why is not because it's not out of ignorance. It's not out of some genetic shit that people try to justify with. Oh yeah, that their skulls are larger than whatever the fuck. You feel what I'm saying? Or they're timid because they've been slaves. They've been in captivity for 450 years. No. I think it is the easier path to put things as definite. In a black neighborhood, if it's one street, because it's been pumped in our minds, if it's one street that has some crime, right? That whole neighborhood is considered that one street. You see what I'm saying? Because what we try to do is identify with it because we look for the easier path. We look for the comfort zone. So when our kids, when it comes to violence, when our kids keep getting pumped in the head that, oh, you are a violent and you were born violent and you can't help yourself. Even if somebody is babying you, even if somebody's coddling to you, or you got the extreme where, you know, the authority figures is coming down on you because they see you, they think they see you as this negative image, right? You take it on because it's the easiest way. Instead of going against the norm, going against the majority. You see what I'm saying? Because to me, it's about discovering who you are as individuals. And it took me 58 years to really understand what kind of man I am. You know, different parts of me blew up, you know what I'm saying? And succeeded. Right. The physical, you know, I'll say the emotional, I'll say the leader type of situation that excelled, but it's other parts of me that needed to grow along with it. And it took the 58 years for it to grow, for me to be comfortable in my own skin.
But Sean, is it a race? It's not a race.
No, I don't believe it's a race.
It's not a race. It's not a race, not a waste, but a race. If you learned it in 58 years, that's a game.
Good point. Good point.
That's a game. Fact,
since you chimed in, are you ready to answer the question?
Oh yeah, I am.
All right, go ahead. A minute and a half, Chris.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it like this: life is not a race. Okay. If you get something quicker than your counterparts, okay, great. My sister, she can read something one time, got it. Me, I gotta read it 4, 5, 6, 7 times to get it. Life is not a race. Life is completion. Once you complete something, that is the compliment the complementation of your life. Okay? So just because you didn't get it faster than your wife or your girlfriend or your friend or whatever, but as long as you got it completed, you're done. I went through instructor school twice. On the second time, I got it, but I got it.
No doubt.
The thing about it is, I had to revert back to what my mom said. My mom told me years ago when I entered St. Aug and they completed St. Aug when my friends did. Life is not a race. Life is about completion. Once I completed my journey, then I graduated. Even though I graduated a year later than everybody else, when instead of graduating in 2009, I should have graduated in 2008. Doesn't matter because nobody gives a fuck about when you graduated, long as you graduated, right?
It's real.
I mean, everybody agrees with that. So
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yep.
we should not live to the standard of society, but live to the standard of ourselves. Once we live to the standard of ourselves, we can accomplish a lot of shit. I'm done.
Collectively. Keith.
Yes. Do we struggle with it with the collective identity? Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Uh, because subconsciously, the way we wired anyway, I guess, not even thinking about it, we want to belong to something because through life, everybody. Well, anyway, I speak for me. Uh, you get excluded from things,
Right.
but at the same time, you're the standard. But it's a smoke screen. They don't want you to know you're the standard. They're actually watching you because, and the reason they're watching you is because you are being excluded and you're still uh, progressing in spite of. So that's
Facts.
so yeah, that's where
Oh,
the struggle.
definitely fact.
That's
Yeah, that's
real.
where the struggle comes in at.
That's
So
real.
we go back and forth with it. So we think, well, then, well, won't we try to put something together? Since we can't join this and all this, we can try to do our own thing. And at the same time, we're being observed. We're like guinea pigs. So yeah, collective identity. Yeah, we definitely struggle with that. And I see it. It leads us, like I say, to join clubs. We'll join things that like last week. I think Chris was saying something about we'll join the NRA. We'll join frats. We'll join. Oh, we'll join. Well, I'm saying we'll join stuff we don't even know about. But it's just to say, hey, I'm a part of this group.
You
This
belong
group
to
is
something,
popular.
right?
It's a popular group, and I'm a part of it. I don't know what the hell they're doing, and I don't know why I'm in it. But I got a jacket.
Hmm.
But I know my time is about short. But
Or
someone that reminds me of
or
this,
a patch.
Charles Barkley is that guy. In my opinion, Charles Barkley is that guy.
He wants to belong.
Yeah, you hear what he talks about it. Me and my friends, and we went to Rodeo Drive, and I went to Michael Jordan's house, and Beyonce was there, and this. Okay, Jordan had a cookout. Hell, we had one too. We ate chicken.
Yeah, right.
It was two trucks. One
Right.
truck went to one truck went to his chef's house,
Mm,
and the other half of the truck chicken load went food line. We all ate the same chicken. You just don't know it. So yeah,
no
the
doubt.
short answer, yeah, the collective identity, yeah, we struggle with that, in
Okay.
my opinion.
All right, Jaquard.
Yeah, we struggle with collective identity, man. If you look at the smallest things in our community, man, you look at haircuts, you look at skinny jeans, you
Hmm.
look at goddamn vehicles, it's all the same. It's just different colors.
Hmm.
Our clothes are the same, our hair is the same. We all drive the same shit, like I just said. All our kids want to be Bloods. You know, they have no reason why.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely, just because that's a popular thing. You know, it's something I've always struggled with, man. I've had conversations with people, and I told them, even down to your Jordans, man. You didn't make a conscious decision, a conscious self decision to like Jordans, man. You like Jordans because it's a popular shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And with that, in some cases, I became ostracized,
Mm-hmm.
because I had an opinion that differed from the norm. You know, we don't. America and the black community is the same in the fact that we kill anything that differs from us.
Mm-hmm.
The black community is, in our attitudes, sometimes we are a microcosm of the American experience, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we we
because
we
we're
we
what?
we we we,
You
we
think
tip we tip we can typify the exact same things that are perpetrated against us and the exact same thing that the fucking world hates us for.
do you think it's because that's what we're willing to eat,
I
other
think
than another part of something to eat?
that's a good question. I think it's because black people mimic things that they believe to be successful, man. They just don't always put in the work.
You see, I
They
mean,
they they we enjoy the end results, but when it comes to the work, I mean, we don't put the steam behind figuring out how to do shit the right way.
I respect it, but I see what you're saying. I really
Hmm.
do, and I think it's a
Man, I
little,
get it all the way.
little, yeah, it's a little of everything because we are innovative at the same time. But Damon, we're gonna go to you, answer the question, then we're gonna go into your segments because we're gonna tie this into a knot. All right?
Here's this is where I'm at with it, man. And maybe it's because of my experience in life. I'm 57 years old, and wisdom or whatever came with living life, man.
Fact,
Are
fact,
we
fact.
are we collectively are we what's our identity? Our identity is the damn world, man. Everybody follow our standard, man. Everybody. But the thing is, they don't respect the culture. K-pop, for example. They don't respect the culture. It's like, oh man, they don't know what they're doing. We're gonna take it and make it bigger. You know what I'm saying? But if we don't come up with the concept or idea, you don't know what the hell to do with your life. That's just factual. You know what I'm saying?
Good point. Good point.
What we have to understand as a people collectively, man, is that we have to understand that we are bastardized, man. That's what we are. We don't have a
Fact.
home country to support us. So in that, there's no respect because for them, it's about, well, y'all living off the teat of America. Y'all welfare recipients. Y'all all on welfare, which is a lie. Y'all kill each other. You know what I'm saying? Here, y'all do too. You know what I'm saying? They sensationalize everything about us. Everything. And then they go about the business of convincing everybody don't be like them people. Yeah, steal their culture. Understand how to survive from them, but don't be like them. You hear the irony in that bullshit? Excuse my language. You hear the irony in it? So for me, collectively, we know how to survive an
Exactly.
oppressed system. That's this fact. That's
Damn,
just what it is.
damn
Yes.
it. That's the same
You know what
thing
I'm
I
saying?
said.
Yeah.
Right.
We were built with a survival instinct within us as African Americans, being brought over here during the transatlantic slave transport, growing up in the United States in a system that is against us already. But then when they feel our suppression, then hey, they want to off themselves. They want to go to all these congressional
Right.
hearings and all this stuff. But we've been experiencing for years.
Right.
So hold on,
Years.
So
Damon.
so
Damon, this is to you, and you can go ahead and finish. Add in to how you feel, what you think to curb the violence. What do you think could curb the violence? Understand that that our culture is being hijacked at every turn, but we're speaking on the violence today too. Is it?
okay.
Do you have an opinion on the violence and how to
Well, he,
curb it?
well, here's my opinion shortly in a roundabout way. We allow this country allows immigrants to come in this country just on the notion that they might be the next Einstein or whatever, right? They might bring ideas here that's going to be innovative to make this country grow and be strong, right? We accept people from other countries that's oppressed or whatever, but we believe that they coming with ideas that's going to make us better. That's just factual. That's just what it is. That's the only reason why they keep the borders open, other than to continue to oppress people. What we have to do as a people is realize that when you get into beef with a brother who stepped on your toes, you know what I'm saying, do you yank that piece out, that hammer out, and you handle that business because you felt disrespected, which is a small marginal thing? Or do you say, hey, bruh, ain't no problem, and you keep it moving? You know what I'm saying? Because this with the same idea, that brother you was finna put that lead in might be that brother who come up with a cure from whatever. You know what I'm saying? That actually happens in our people. You look at these young cats, man, who rapping and putting their message out there. They saying some very profound and profound things that's coming out of them based on their personal experience. You know what I'm saying? But how many rappers or up and coming rappers that have been lives have been cut short for whatever reason? We don't have the capacity to say, you know what? I don't agree with that young brother, but when do you really know? All of us black men, when did we really get it? We didn't get it until our 30s, man. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We didn't get it till our 30s, and that means love. That means taking care of our kids. That means the whole thing that as it pertains to people growing and prospering. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that ain't my problem. I can't see it from my front door until it happens to you. Then you want the whole world to know that you've been assaulted. Something happened to you. Hey, I can't find my daughter. But if it's somebody else's daughter, man, she shouldn't have been out in them streets. See, we don't have the wherewithal. Understand that.
And what you're saying is we don't have a knowledge of self community.
Right. I mean, and that's
what happens to your daughter
happens to mine.
Exactly.
Because we 6 degrees from separation, man. That's just factual. That's scientifically understood. You know what I'm saying? And we're just dealing with our community.
Prime example, the folks that went down to Mexico, they get kidnapped by the cartel. 2 of them died. 2 of them come back. People are saying, oh, shit, they shouldn't have went to Mexico.
Right.
I mean, come on now. White folks go to Mexico. Why can't we go? Then it comes up with all these other conspiracy theories that they were down there to buy drugs.
That's because we allow people to look at us. That's why nobody think about this. Think about this, y'all. And this is my last point. When you think about us as African Americans globally, black men and women, nobody likes us. Why is that? Why is that? We ain't no different than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? But why put the focus on us? Because we're a threat. If we ever come together collectively, we're a threat. Just imagine if we connected to an African country with all kind of resources. We're national power, man. We already that monetarily. But what if we back that up with resources? We something to reckon with, man. So there has to constantly be that element that's going to say, yeah, they might be about this, and they might be about that, but don't let them get close. Dude, man, your kids listen to our music.
I got you.
You feel what I'm saying? Your kids follow our culture. Your kids want to be like us.
Yeah.
And that's a major threat.
It's a safe zone too.
All right, Damon. Time to go into your last segment, brother. Bring us on home.
This is gonna be short and sweet, man. As we talked about this, man. At some point in every black man and woman's life in this country, man, the scales have to fall from your eyes, man. That's in the Bible. You feel me? That's in the Bible. The scales have to fall from your eyes, and you have to see what the truth is. The thing that's detriment to us is we ignore what we're seeing because it's all personal. You know what I'm saying? When you go through your trials and tribulations, that ain't nobody else's but your own. That's your experience. That's your life, what you've been through. Yeah, you can identify with somebody because they've been through similar things, but they didn't take it in and all that stuff like you did. So when those things happen to you and you say, wow, you know what I'm saying? You can't wait 15, 20 years down the line and say, damn, you know what, remember when that happened to me? I should have knew then. You knew then. You knew then, but you made a conscious choice. Just like I spoke earlier when I said, hey, Pop, is me and my boys crazy? He said, yeah, they might be, but you not. You just stupid. That was my maturation process. That was that time when I said, you know what? At least I have to take a chance on myself, man. Pass or fail. And the crazy part about it, most people that's successful, they fail numerous times, man. You know what I'm saying? Think about how many of our people give up after the first or second time, bro. And we as black men, is at the age that we are, how many times have we failed and we overcame it?
But hold on, is it really failure, or is it learning from our past to progress our future?
Well, Chris, are you gonna recognize it? I mean, if you failed at something, are you gonna dismiss that failure?
No, because I see where you're coming from. Yes, I failed, but I use that failure as strength to progress further.
But you had to recognize this as what, Chris?
As a failure. I get what you're
Right.
saying. My bad, bro. I get it.
No, you all right, man. You good. So, my point is, man, it's like Pop said to us. He said, man, opportunities, be it bad or good, come across you every day. You just have to learn from it and be your better self. How many of us are doing that, or how many of us are paying attention to the clown shit? We have to make a decision. And in that decision, we have to make connections to something that's going to benefit us. You know what I'm saying? Because they are never going to accept us as true American whatever. We have to have the connection. Mexicans got Mexico. Puerto Ricans got Puerto Rico. You see where I'm going at?
I get what you're saying.
Somebody to vouch for them. Who vouches for us?
Nobody vouches for us.
First of all, we've been here long enough to vouch for this fucking country, man. First of
Exactly.
But they don't give us credit for
all, right?
building this country. You know what? Here's the thing that bothers me mostly, man. When they talk about, man, y'all got to get over slavery, dude. It ain't about slavery for me. It's about my great uncle, who I knew.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
That is the most dismissive statement that anybody that's not us can say to me. Man, you need to get over slavery. Dude, I experienced segregation. Motherfucker, I'm 57.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
You gonna tell me something to get over that I experienced? I know what it was like. I can't go to Mr. So-and-so's store with my, you know what I'm saying? I can't have my hands in my pocket. And I had to be open. I had to be visible.
Let me just say this: you did not storm a Capitol because somebody was talking some bullshit.
Yep.
Facts.
You did not commit treason because somebody said, in which the 4 years earlier, that it was questionable whether or not the election was stolen.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying to you? But then when it's time for when they get ready to lose, they say, oh, they stole the election from me. Now all of a sudden you want to go to Washington, take your little
and overthrow the government, right?
Overthrow the fucking government.
Yep. I mean, if you just look at the recent polls, man, we got a president, man, who was twice impeached with 3 indictments, federal indictments against him, and he leading the polls, man.
Yeah.
Of course.
Tell me where that makes sense, man.
Hold on.
Fear, man.
You're absolutely correct.
And it's on TV.
And he's facing a third indictment.
You know what I'm saying?
He's facing a third indictment.
But got 3.
Right. No, he's facing a third one. But we also have a president. We also have a president that has the same mentality as my mother, who's deceased. They can't walk up the stairs or walk across the stage. But giving trillions of dollars of your tax dollars to a country that's not even part of the UN.
I listened to one of his speeches, man, this morning. I was listening to one of his speeches.
Nobody said nothing about that.
I was listening to one of his speeches that he had this morning, man. And I was listening to him, and I was laughing through the whole joint. And then when he was coming to the end of the speech.
Hold on.
I'm talking about Trump. Yeah.
We're not talking about Trump. Let's talk about Biden.
Hold on. Let me finish my point, man. Then we can get into it. I was listening to Trump speeches.
Hold on. That's another. Finish your point.
I was listening to. Here's the crazy thing about it. I was listening to Trump speeches, man. Real talk. And the stuff he was saying, I was like, oh my God. I'm laughing out loud, man. Literally. I'm laughing out loud.
He's comical as fuck.
And then when he was wrapping up, then it dawned on me, I'm like, oh shit. These people actually taking this shit serious.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
It's people actually taking it serious. So I have to do my due diligence, and I can't allow that foolishness to have a pass. It's literally foolishness, man.
All right, go ahead.
In my opinion.
Finish up, Damon, if you're not finished, and then.
I'm saying, I got off track, man. But all I'm saying is, man.
My bad.
Chris, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to talk about Biden.
I mean, he's a fucking joke. I mean, the countries are looking at us and saying he's a fucking joke. He's too old to run one of the biggest countries in America.
But hold on, Chris.
I ain't never seen no world leaders laughing at him behind his back.
Listen, let me just say this. You may be absolutely right, but guess what? 3 years ago, he was the hands down best fucking choice.
And I get what you said. And if it wasn't for that deal that what's that guy's name that got a blowjob in the White House?
Clinton.
Clinton, man.
Clinton. If it wasn't for him, yeah, he got a blowjob in the White House. Let's face it.
He wasn't in the White House. He was in the back seat of a Buick.
No, he was in the Oval Office.
In Virginia.
But the thing about it is, Joe Biden and my mother are the same age. My mother is deceased because of dementia. Joe Biden has dementia. If you don't see it, I see it. Because I know what it looks like. Because I dealt with it for a number of years.
Hey, can I say something right quick?
Go ahead.
Can I say something right quick?
Who is that? Damon?
This
Go ahead.
thing. I say the same thing, man. But whenever he came out of that dimension, what did he do? He passed a whole lot of shit, man.
Right. He passed a whole lot of shit.
He passed a whole lot of shit, man. Right. He got a lot of shit done.
No, fuck that. He didn't get a lot of shit done. He didn't get a lot of shit done. And
All
I'm
right.
gonna and I'm gonna wrap. I'm gonna
Yeah,
bring it
yeah,
back.
wrap it
I
up.
know. I know. I got a couple of seconds or whatever.
Hold on for
But
me.
the thing about it is, trillions of your dollars are going to a country that are not even part of the UN. But
All right,
we have
Chris, let me stop you. Let me just stop you. First of all, I get that, but I'm 58. Let me see. President Johnson, Vietnam. President Nixon, Vietnam.
okay,
President Ford, Vietnam.
okay.
You understand?
Hold on. But
Jimmy
all of
Carter.
those, but
Hold on. We'll talk about this when we're done. What I'm saying to you is, it's not to dispute you. What I'm saying to you is, almost every president in our lifetime has thrown money into some kind of
I
conflict.
get that. I get
Yeah.
that. I'm not disputing that.
Okay,
And all of those presidents that you mentioned are Democratic. But I
makes
am
no
on the
difference.
front. Hold on. I'm on the front lines of law enforcement now, and we have a epidemic in this country with fentanyl that are
That's
taking
real.
people's lives away by record numbers.
That's real.
But we're giving money to a country that can't pay the money back.
Got
So
you.
when do we say enough is enough and concentrate on people in the United States? We just had a young man, African
Good point.
American, 19 years old, pass away in our jail. So where is Biden on that?
Uh, that we
Nobody got nothing to say then.
I get
But
it.
we
Hey,
send
Chris.
trillions of dollars to the
I
Ukraine
don't
to
care.
help them fight Russia. But in our country and amongst our community, we're dying of a drug that comes from overseas, but nobody's saying nothing about that.
I get it.
this is what I'm gonna say, and this will help you feel better about the whole thing. And it's true. Um, our people, the biggest mistake we make is keep assuming that when they say we and us and money and we giving, that
Right.
it has something to do with us.
But
It ain't
it
our
ain't
money.
got nothing to do with
They
us.
won't intending to give
Yeah,
us none.
yeah.
It
That
ain't
part.
our government. It ain't from the beginning. We were brought, the ones that were over here, they were conquered and made indentured servants and whatever, slaves. Then they brought some rest of us over. They won't even know, didn't want to be over here, brought them over here. And our job was to work for free. And when that was done, uh, that was done. Mission over. So
But Keith,
that's how
hold on.
we get
Okay,
But
those.
Keith,
hold on, because I'm trying to wait for Damon to come back,
Yeah.
oh, where's he
and
at?
we're getting ready to go into another episode, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about this once we get off live,
Yeah.
all right?
Right.
Because what we're trying to do is respect the fact that three of us are employed. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying to you?
That's word.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's
I get what's that.
yeah.
So we do understand.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Um, any last words before we go? Real quick, guys.
It's
Chris,
been
And listen, I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy the camaraderie because all of us have interacted with each other. We know how we operate. I thank you, Keith, from the bottom of my heart to let me come on twice. You might not let me come on no more. That's fine. But I've been on twice.
come on, man.
look, you ain't said shit that's gonna stop that, man. But go ahead.
but what I'm saying is that I enjoy this platform because everybody looks at me as hardcore law enforcement. But after 25 years of being on the job, I see what everybody's now, the public, and everybody's talking about. And I agree with that.
Gotcha.
We do need self checking. Like I said, my man Keith B right here. He was one of my trainees. He knows how I operate. I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna do it to the fullest, but I'm not gonna put all that BS in it.
No
I was
doubt.
training the trainer.
Right. He was
I,
training the trainer.
I was waiting for you to.
I was
Anytime
training
this
the
dude,
trainer.
look, anytime this dude hit me, say, "Hey, I gotta go to my retirement meeting," in the midst
Yeah,
of training, hey, you go ahead, do what you gotta do,
Oh,
my
shit.
dude.
yeah.
But
All right,
but,
Keith,
but oh,
go
go
ahead and
ahead.
finish. Go ahead and finish real quick. Chris, Keith, you next, man.
Okay.
I love shit like this. I love it. I love it
Okay.
because I can get my perspective off being on the job, being a black man, being in America. I can get it out there to everybody. Go
Okay.
ahead. Now I'm done.
Keith,
Yeah, I was gonna say that the topic that the violence in the community and uh, that's really a big issue, man. So the topic was great, and that's
Yeah.
what something really that a lot of people have some great answers, but what we're lacking is action. We're
Fact.
well,
lacking action and
Because you know
people coming
why?
together.
Actions take
So
money away from those who are empowered. But anyway, go ahead.
yeah. So that's it. That's I we just lack some action, but we still have to keep it relevant. We still needed platforms like this where we can talk about it, and so everybody will stay aware and not get caught up in all these other distractions.
no
You
doubt.
know, well, you know what distractions are. This stuff popping up all the time. You know, comedians slapping each other, and stuff that's off topic
Yeah.
for what we're dealing with. The grassroots people are dealing with day to day. So
Cardi, Cardi B throwing a microphone at a
yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, this,
Okay.
I mean, well, she did get a couple liquor thrown on her, so
yeah. So I mean,
Uh,
just
yeah, I get it. I get it.
yeah.
She threw a
So
microwave.
so that's
Yeah.
one
hell
issue.
yeah, she threw a whole
Nah,
microphone on the motherfucker.
yeah. But then hit somebody else, so she getting ready to come out of pocket. Uh,
Yeah,
Damon, last words, man.
Man, I appreciate that. The thing I appreciate more is hearing the perspective from law enforcement, man, because I don't know what y'all go through, man. You know what I'm saying? I can identify with what I experienced personally, man, and I can make that set in stone. Y'all can do the same thing, and people might misconstrue where you're coming from.
Fact,
You know what I'm saying?
fact, fact. I mean, I
So
ain't gonna lie to you, Damon. I got certified PTSD, which affects
I can
my
only
home life,
imagine, man.
which affects my home life, and
Wow,
I had to try to balance all that shit out. Do
that's
you know
deep.
how hard that is?
I can't imagine, man. That's deep right there.
It's hard.
It's hard as a motherfucker.
Hey, look.
Being diagnosed with PTSD, your wife is a nurse, and then you're trying to balance out husband duties, dealing with this shit. She yelling at you. This trigger this shit. It's a lot to it, but I had to
Hey,
learn how to do it. But go ahead. All
Hey,
right,
that
next.
that,
hey,
that
look.
needed to be heard, man. That
This
needed to
right
be
here,
heard.
what you're doing,
hmm
you're spitting the poison out, dog. You understand? You're verbalizing it and you're spitting it out.
That was deep, man.
Yeah. Jaquari, last word.
Jaquari.
Hey man, gentlemen, I thank you for your time. Dickens, hey man, I appreciate your enthusiasm and your input. You
Yes, sir.
know, and I look forward to the next time. Barnes, hey man, you are the motherfucking pillar of stoicism, brother.
Oh,
The pillar
thanks,
of
man.
stoicism.
Appreciate it. Appreciate that.
You know.
And he can sing too, no.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. And let me tell you something. Barnes only got one speed. He only got one speed. That's his speed.
That's right. That's right. Right. Big bruh, man, hey man, hell of a job, bro. Hell of a job.
All right.
Hey,
Damon,
man.
Thank
eloquent as ever, bro. Eloquent,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Hey, man, I appreciate
Hey,
your time, gentlemen.
like I said, I love this shit. Keith, you put on a phenomenal platform. That they bring different perspectives to the game. Hey, if I'm invited back, I am. If I'm not, hey,
Man,
I got my
always. I told you that. I told you that. You have not said anything for me to say, oh, you can't come back.
somebody's phone going off.
What is that,
Uh,
man?
somebody's
Yeah,
phone. Hey,
I was
look,
about let me finish, man. I was just about to say, man, all our guests are recurring, so if you ever have a topic that you want to dive into, man, the presidency, NRA, whatever, man, drop Keith a line, let's set something up. Thank you for your
Oh,
time, brother.
most def, I will.
listen, and stay on, man, after we go off live, man. This Strong Perspective podcast. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel when you see this and subscribe for us, please, because we have relevant conversation and we talk about it. And the thing about it is people say always, hey, Strong, you'll reach more people if you shorten it up. We having conversation is what we're doing. We're having conversation. Shorten it up. No, we'll take care of that, all that. We'll give you some sound bites real soon, but it's about the conversation. That's what we're promoting. So this is Strong Perspective Podcast. Y'all have a good weekend. Thanks to
Peace.
the guests. Thank you, brothers. Appreciate y'all, man. Good night.